magandang hapon Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Para sa ating mga kapatid sa Luzon, may pagat panapon, imbag na malaw, masantos siya nga araw, marhay na hapon. Sa mga kapatid sa Visayas, maayong hapon, maupay akulog, maayong punto. At sa mga nasa Mindanao, assalamualaikum, buenas tardes. Para sa ating mga panuhin banyaga, good afternoon, annyeonghaseyo, konnichiwa, salamat siyang shang wuhao. Welcome po sa ating mga regular na tagapakinig at tagapanood sa Zoom at sa ating Facebook Live. Hello po sa inyong lahat. Welcome sa ating ika-35 o 35th episode ng the Filipino Sustainable Development Goals or SDG Action Hour. Ang ating lingguhang kumustahan para sa maganda, maayos, mabuti at makabuluhang kinabukasan. Isang oras na naman po ng hitik na hitik na talakayan ng mga usapin na papanahon at may kinalaman sa mga SDGs at sa ating bayan. Hi po, ako po si Paul mula sa Future Earth Philippines at kung mapapansin po ninyo ay mag-isa ko muna po itatagoy ng ating kumustahan ngayong hapon. So, hello po kay Ma'am Dada. Nevertheless, sinigurado po namin na makakaroon tayo ng maganda at maalab na diskusyon tungkol sa ating topic. At ito nga po, we are so thrilled to share with you another exciting and interesting topic na pinamagatang carbon-wise farming and agriculture. I am also very honored to introduce our speaker for today. He is the current director of the Southeast Asian Regional Center for Graduate Study and Research in Agriculture o ang SEARCA. Isa rin po siyang professor sa Institute of Crop Science ng College of Agriculture and Food Science sa Universidad ng Pilipinas, Los Baños. Bilang mananaliksik naman po, he has worked in the field of rice breeding during his time sa International Rice Research Institute or IRRI, and for almost 3 decades sa institution po ito, nakapag-develop po siya ng 15 o 15 na rice varieties. Wow, his works in rice farming is really amazing and inspiring. Ano po? And hindi lang po siya isang dedicated na mananaliksik. Our speaker is also a multi-awarded one. Ilan sa kanya mga natanggap na lokal na mga parangal ay ang 10 Outstanding Young Scientists of the Philippines, Outstanding Young Scientist in the field of genetics, and Crop Science Society of the Philippines Achievement Award in Research Management. That is to name a few. And he has also received recognition from international award-giving bodies. Kabilang po dito ang Honorary Foreign Scientist Award ng Rural Development Administration of Korea, ang Ho Chi Minh Medal para sa kanyang great contribution to the cause of agriculture and rural development sa Vietnam naman po, at kamakailan lamang ay isa po siya sa mga hinirang ng 2021 United Nations Food System Summit Champions. And with all this information and recognition, I am very thrilled and excited to hear from our guest. And kung yung po natin pahabain nito, everyone, let us welcome Academician Glenn B. Gregorio.
Thank you very much, Paul, for that kind introduction at magandang hapon sa lahat. I hope we don't have foreigners, but I'll be doing it in Tagalog. So good afternoon. So greetings from the Science and Nature City of Los Baños. So I'm still inside my office, although maya-maya ay questions and to firm up our project that we want to impose in the next 5 years. So I want to share my slides. I'll make sure that tama yung slide na ipipresent ako. Okay. Okay, I think tama ito. So I'll be talking about carbon-wise farming. Actually, this is the aim here really is to reduce our carbon footprint as we develop our farms, as we have our farms in agriculture, particularly agriculture, which will be starting on rice and other crops. So this is we call it WISE because it's a web-based integrated spatial engine and smart ecosystem. So WISE ang ginamit natin dito. So we want to have a carbon-wise farming producing wise farmers. Okay. So I'll try to, just to give you an idea, although many of you knows about SEARCA. SEARCA is Southeast Asian Regional Center for Graduate Study and Research in Agriculture. Actually, was born when I was born. So sabay kami in the year 1965-1966 by the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization. So from the ASEAN region, including Timor-Leste. the main aim talaga dito is to elevate the quality of life of our agricultural families through sustainable livelihoods and access to modern networks and innovative markets. So very jab na jab ito sa ating SDGs, which I'll be mentioning later. So as I mentioned, our vision really is to be a leading enabler and champion of excellence in agriculture and rural development in Southeast Asia. And for the last 3 years, we have our 5-year plan. We have, because of the pandemic that we experienced, because of the climate change that we experienced, we start to rethink how we approach agriculture, how we view our food, how we view agriculture, how we view our biodiversity and the food system. That's why we have to rethink how we do it. That's why we went to this for the next 5 years, or starting 2020. We have this attain will be our 5-year plan, accelerating transformation through agricultural innovation. And actually, this attain is Attain wants to really address and we want to contribute and provide resources towards to solve the zero hunger, education quality, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, climate action, and of course, the partnership. And we want also to touch on zero poverty, gender equality, responsible consumption and production. So we want to touch in everything, but we want to focus in this one because we have to focus in the next 5 years on these SDGs, but not limited to this one. Okay, so as I mentioned, to reinforce our transformational agricultural food system in Southeast Asia, we want to change the old mindset that farming is just production. We have to have a new mindset to have farming as a sustainable agribusiness. How to make it sustainable, which I'll be mentioning later on this carbon-wise agriculture that I'll be talking about. So change of mindset, we want to future-proof our products, services with efficiency. We have to go for ecosystem thinking, market-centric, impact-centric, digitally transformed farms. So these are the things that we have to think, and low ecological footprints. So those are the things that I want to show of at what we are doing at SEARCA right now. This is our 4th year. Actually, today is exciting moment because this is our last day of our fiscal year, and we'll start our fiscal year technically tomorrow, July 1, because we are in the 4th year of our 5-year plan, which is attained. So, and we are wrapping up, and that's why, as I mentioned, we have a new program, which is the carbon-wise agriculture, which we want to plan for the next 5 years starting 2025. So medyo advanced na itong iniisip na ito. For the next 5 years starting 2025, we'll be having our theme on carbon-wise agriculture. So the content of what I'll be sharing to you is more on sources of the greenhouse gas emission from agricultural sector, carbon farming as definition of this, the benefit of carbon mitigation, challenges in adoption of climate resilient agriculture technologies and practices. What is the overarching goal of this carbon farming that I'm talking about, objectives and key component, expected outcomes, carbon farming hub, wise carbon farming hub that we want to create in Southeast Asia, and the Southeast Asia Carbon Farming Consortium that we want to propose, and what are the current collaborative project of SEARCA on the community-based wise carbon farming. So this is just a framework, but we have some projects already coming in, and I hope I could get some insight from you and how we could really improve the framework of this of our proposed program on carbon-wise farming. Okay, and just to give you a rough idea of the sources of greenhouse gas emission in agriculture, because in agriculture we contributed 25% of the carbon of this greenhouse emission, and I think 54% is coming from the industry. And from the source of greenhouse gases, we have the N2O from the soil, we have methane, and we have carbon dioxide from the land use. And the land use coming from deforestation, tillage, on-farm operation, from the methane, of course, from the livestock that we have, manure management, paddy rice, and swamp wetlands. So methane is one of the biggest contribution to our greenhouse gas emission. Okay, as I mentioned, agriculture is 25% of our greenhouse gas emission contribution, but energy is higher, which is 54%, and they're doing a lot of things about this one. And for agriculture, it's so complex because this is, I may say, one of the poorest sector. Energy has to do more, but we have to do our own also. So just the status of the Philippine agricultural sector in terms of greenhouse gas emission, rice cultivation is the largest contributor to greenhouse gas emission, not because of the rice itself, but rice is a huge land of area has been planted with rice. That's why the greenhouse gas emission coming from rice is 62% compared to 62% of the total agricultural emission in the. If you look at the other graph that I have, you can see here that the 60% from greenhouse gas emission, 9% from synthetic fertilizer, 13% from manure, 12% from enteric fermentation, and 4% from crop residue. So you just see here that rice, that's why we want to focus initially on rice. Okay, just to give you an idea of on the climate change scenario, global climate risk index from 2000 to 2019, you could see that Myanmar, sorry for the wrong spelling, Myanmar becomes the second most vulnerable, affected by the extreme weather events. Philippines rank 4th, Thailand 9th on the global climate risk index. This is really posing a big challenge in Southeast Asia because most of the Southeast Asian countries is much affected by this climate weather interruption. And just to give you some definition on carbon farming, I may say carbon farming is an agricultural method that enhances the uptake or removal and storage of carbon dioxide in soil. So carbon dioxide is the first absorbed from the air by the plants via photosynthesis, and the roots and the other parts of then decompose and are converted to soil carbon by the microorganisms. Plant matters and with the carbon dioxide are stored in the soil in the form of organic matter, particularly humus. So carbon farming is an approach of sequestering the carbon into atmospheric carbon into the soil and in crop vegetation and biomass in the form of soil organic matter from different ecosystems or landscape. Okay, so pare-pareho na ang ating definition ng carbon farming. So just to give you the benefits of mitigating carbon mitigation in agricultural soil, because this is not just that we are mitigating it, controlling it, reducing it, but it has a big effect also in our farms. Which I mentioned, this will really help our SDGs to achieve our SDGs. Increase soil fertility, reduce soil salinity, improve soil health. So that's the immediate effect. Improve the nutrient cycle, which had been disrupted because of this too much greenhouse gas emission that we have. Increase biomass delivery with our arable crops, greater water holding capacity because of the soil is much rehabilitated and improved. Infiltration and aeration, reduce evaporation from soil surface and provide buffer against drought. So we have those big advantage. And also the risk of soil erosion, improve native vegetation and increase biodiversity. Those are the bonuses. Reduce greenhouse gas emission, of course, and the sequestered carbon and convert to carbon credits. So these are we could really make this as a business to convert it to carbon credits also for farmers. So we have a lot of technologies available: alternate wet and dry, use of less organic fertilizer, use less of pesticide, use of modern technologies, resilient or tolerant rice varieties to abiotic stresses, new varieties for abiotic stress tolerance or pest tolerance. But the challenges in adopting these climate resilient agriculture technologies is a challenge to the farmers also. One is, despite its availability, it's there is limited adoption due to the lack of financial incentive to the farmers. Because if you talk to the farmers, they want, ano bang kikitain ko dyan? What will be my immediate return? Because it's very difficult, because, you know, farmers are mostly poor, and they want money back right away as much as possible. So what's the incentive right away? Or what's the benefit of using that in terms of money? Second is digital agriculture is not yet properly introduced to our farmers in terms of cost efficiency of new technologies, including this decision support tools, mobile apps, and GIS mapping. So these are new to them. So it's not yet even, kahit internet natin, hindi pa rin talaga proper. Kuryente nga, wala pa sa farms nila. So now we are talking about digital agriculture. So these are the challenges that we are facing. Additional cost because of using less fertilizer, using organic, or using much efficient machines. So additional cost, they want it. What I mean, ano agad ang makukuha nila dito? Ano ang cost of return of investment? So they are looking for immediate financial benefit. Possible carbon credit systems requires a system level approach. So if you talk about, pwede nating ibenta itong carbon credit system, which I'll be mentioning later, it still requires a system level approach. I'll talk on that in a while. Because you have to organize the community, you have to, how much will it cost 1 ton of carbon sequestered, how to monitor the farms. This is where the project will come in. And the other challenge is enabling policy at the national and local levels on carbon credit system in agricultural sector. So 4 and 5 challenges are much related. So enabling policy, wala pa tayo niyan. Parang may pera na raw ang green fund, but how to approach it is still wala pang procedure how to do it, especially at our local, national and local level. So the major structural change needed in Southeast Asian agriculture to accelerate low carbon emission, one is to have this technology leap in mechanization and digitalization. So we have to go on mechanization and digitalization to make this happen. Farm reorganization to separate small farm holders into outgrow cooperatives of small farmers with commercial nucleuses. So we have to organize our farmers from small to make it big, not selling the small farms to make it a big farm, but make it a cooperative, or make them, organize them, cluster them, so that they will be, we could measure their carbon credits by community or by hubs. Shift from traditional production to circular and bioeconomy-based production of evolved and diversified principle and byproducts. So we have to shift from traditional production to circular and bioeconomy. So using the bioeconomy, it should be a circular economy-based production. We have to use our waste and put it back to the soil to maximize our profit or benefits of our farm produce. Okay, so this wave-based integrated spatial engine, wise and smart ecosystem farming. Actually, this is just an example, and SEARCA is implementing one of its flagship program, which I mentioned, with an overarching goal of develop a platform and standard allowing agro-industry to offer carbon credits and from target ecosystem. So this web-based integrated spatial engine WISE is a tool that integrates various spatial data, models, and algorithms to support decision-making in the field and natural resource management, agriculture, forestry, climate change, and disaster management. It also provides users with a web-based interface that allows them to access and analyze spatial data from various sources, visualize the result, and share the findings with stakeholders. So it's really a partnership-driven initiative. So this smart ecosystem carbon farming approach to agriculture aims to mitigate climate change by sequestering carbon in the soil and vegetation. It involves using techniques such as agroforestry, cover crops, conservation tillage, and the like. And the core approach is to minimize the use of synthetic inputs such as fertilizers and pesticides, and to practice and promote biodiversity and ecosystem resilience. So the integration of this WISE technology can help farmers and land managers to have insight into carbon sequestration potential in their land and soil health. So it's a holistic approach to make this happen. So first goal is to mitigate carbon change, climate change. Next goal is really increase farmers' income, develop profit carbon agribusiness models, transform traditional farmers into carbon conscious farmers. I call them the wise farmers, or I call them the trans farmers, transformative farmers. And the third goal is really to reduce carbon footprints in our Southeast Asian farms. So low carbon footprints, produce more food with less carbon footprints. Okay, so the objective of this wise carbon farming is to analyze policy contexts and gaps that impacts the adoption of carbon farming in the 11 members countries, but limited to Southeast Asian countries of which we are our territory of SEARCA. Valuation and financial environmental benefits, economic valuation of carbon farming before and after the project intervention, identify, define, and scale out adaptive and viable carbon farming approaches and techniques relevant to the target ecosystems. Of course, develop the GIS-based sustainable and viable carbon farming models for different agro-ecosystems. So it's a big objective. Enhance capacity of our local farmers, researchers, and other stakeholders in the academe, industry, government sectors in the implementation of scaling up of the carbon farming in different agro-ecosystems. So there's a lot of partnership, a lot of technology, a lot of funding needed to make this happen. But SEARCA took the challenge to make this our next 5-year plan. And for the Southeast Asian carbon farming hub, we will be producing a think tank which will produce a geodata collection, mining, and analytics, expert accreditation. We will be doing an institutional certification, consulting and training, and secretariat support also for the Southeast Asian Farming Hub Consortium. The key component here is the policy standard and governance, business models and financial investments and finance, climate research integration, digital systems, education, capacity building, and partnership. So all of these three components are very important to make this Southeast Asian carbon farming hub successful. So we have to go into farming reorganization. Small farms need to reorganize their operations from separate small holding farms to outgrow or co-ops with a commercial nucleus. Communities co-ops is the proposed unit for measurement and develop related to bioeconomy. We need communities to measure how much carbon they have reduced or greenhouse have been reduced, gas had been reduced, so that they could, this will aid the policymakers or those who will be exchanging carbon credits into money. We could assist them for this one. Carbon footprints are measured at the community level, and carbon farming is optimized when done in hubs. So that's why they have to go in hubs to make this measurable. So expected outcomes: increase awareness of farmers and farming community of sustainable agriculture and environment, improve models on carbon farming under the Southeast Asian tropical condition, because we have a lot of carbon farming now in Europe, but we have to tropicalize it under tropical condition. Increase adoption of carbon farming models on climate smart technologies and approaches to improve the farm productivity and livelihood of the community. Decreased greenhouse gas emission resulting from the increased farmers' capacity and access to climate smart farming services, and improve the traceability of farms and agricultural products from farm to the consumer for food safety and transparency. And lastly, increase incentive for farmers and farming community through carbon credits. Medyo kailangan pa natin ang carbon credits, i-organize ito at firm ang policy dito for the Philippines. So this is the hub that we want to do, the Southeast Asian Carbon Farming Consortium. We have launched this with Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas 2 months ago, and we are starting to talk to the different research and technology hubs of different countries, and will make it a Southeast Asian hub. Expected outputs: models to measure carbon credits, platform to organize the carbon farming hub, policy and standards allowing agro-industry to offer carbon credits from the WISE carbon farming, and mechanism to incentivize carbon farmers. So this is the objective of the consortium. These are examples of the SEARCA's current collaborative projects on community-based carbon farming model, which is the WISE rice-based carbon farming in partnership with Finland. We have already a project with them which focuses on digital carbon farming and cloud data system for rice-based production system. So this is the carbon farming and community level system. We have also the rice straw biogas in partnership with the Rice Straw Innovation Limited, the UK-based Aston University, and Innovate UK. The main motivation in this project is to address the energy trilemma of rice growing communities in the Philippines by providing economical bioenergy and productive use while reducing emission from the rice farm management. Again, this is the one I want to share. I want to hear your ideas, how we will firm up this project and how we could work together with everyone. Thank you very much. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much po, Academician Gregorio, for that presentation. The floor is now open po for our questions from our panelists and our attendees. For the attendees, you can use the Q&A box to key in your questions, and to our panelists, you can just raise your hand so we can recognize you po. Do we have questions already? If wala pa po, Akad, I would like to ask, ako na po muna magtanong. So, you have emphasized the importance of including yung mga smallhold farmers natin, the grassroots, when it comes to the interventions na ginagawa ng SEARCA. May I ask po if there has been any resistance from our smallhold farmers pag nag-i-introduce tayo ng interventions sa kanila, and how did you address those?
Yeah, we are going into that. Our potential problem there really is sometimes may mga patig na rin mga farmers natin ngayon, kasi a lot of us from DA, from the academe, we are introducing new innovations sa kanila, then nandun, nawala. So may patig na rin sila, parang ibang mga tao napapagod na rin sila. But we are going there to show them that there's an immediate alam naman nila ang climate change, alam nila yung pandemic ngayon, so medyo excited na ulit sila to have this new innovation. Nakita nila yung mga new digital social media, medyo maging receptive na sila. But what we want to show them is once you use these technologies, dahan-dahan tayo. One technology at a time. Don't bombard them, oh, you have to use drone, you have to use this one, you have to... Ay mahirap yon. One technology at a time. Maybe just changing their variety into an early maturing variety. At saka kung nasa area sila which is affected by flood or salinity, give them some variety, appropriate varieties for for their area. So we'll start with the seed. Then we'll go to alternate wet and dry. Then we go for using less pesticide, less fertilizer, and use how to produce compost, how to produce organic fertilizers, and combine them with the synthetic fertilizer muna hanggang dahan-dahan ang reduce. So we have to show the technology first that have an immediate impact agad. Pag harvest nila, next harvest nila may nakita silang kita agad. So let's start with the seed. Then let's start with how to manage the soil. So dahan-dahan tayo. Don't bombard them with information. Ganon. So dahan-dahan tayo. That's the challenge. And I hope with our experience and with the partnership of everyone, isa ang words namin, isa ang sinasabi namin. We will help you to reduce, to help your health, at saka kikita kayo, immediate kayo, may increase agad ang yield.
Thank you po, Greg. Yes po, Academician Mendoza, you're recognized po.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Academician Glenn, how are you?
Hi, ma'am.
Alam mo talagang ang challenge siguro dito yung how to operationalize yung mga ganito. Kasi maganda naman talaga siya. But I'm sure meron ng ginagawa ang field rice, for example, lalo na sa rice farming and other groups. Nakapag na ba kayo yung nakapag-survey na kung ano na yung status nila para noon ma-consolidate yung efforts, no? Talagang kailangan mag-think tank na okay, sa Central Luzon ganito no. So ang laking trabaho, Academician Glenn, pero kailangan natin to, no. So as the help of our young scientists or younger scientists sa other agencies, I'm sure meron ng simula yan, no. Kailangan na lang susugan.
Yeah.
Kailangan ng maayos na para noon makita ng lahat na it's working, and then the smaller farmers can join, and saka kailangan talaga maano sila, yung group together. Hindi po pwede talaga na isa-isang farmers. It has to be a community of farmers. Yun lang, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ma'am May. Actually, that's what we are doing right now. Actually, technologies are here and there. So with this Carbon-Wise Consortium, we are just collecting them, package them, make them sexy, and buy chewable sa mga farmers. Kasi alternate wet and dry, varieties, nandiyan na yan. Then we include digital agriculture sa kanila, then incentivize them. So ang ginagawa namin ngayon, we are doing some experiment, how to monitor how much carbon they are reducing with using this variety. So we could monitor now before they are contributing itong halimbawa 5 tons of carbon dioxide in this community. With this technology, we could monitor, then we could quantify how much it had been reduced. So that's the challenge. With those monitoring system that we are developing with Field Rice and Erie right now, and with our partnership with medyo advanced ang Thailand ngayon. So we have partnership with them, and they will give us the data how to do it, and we will Philippinize it because that's in Thailand condition. We have to Philippinize it and see, and we could monitor now how much it will reduce the contribution or the emission of carbon of our greenhouse emissions. So with that, then ma-incentivize ang farmer. Then after that, introduce serious na tayo na all these technologies will be available from varieties, short duration varieties, salt-tolerant varieties, drought-tolerant. So, i-customize natin sa condition yan. But if you talk Nueva Ecija, their land is very good. They have very good sunlight. So, maybe reducing yung mga varieties na shorter growth duration, efficient mechanization, tsaka combine ng organic tsaka synthetic mo nang ilalagay natin, and water management that will contribute less to the greenhouse emission, at the same time increase the productivity. So dahan-dahan tayo until my dream siguro 20 years from now. That's why this is a very difficult challenge for a university to initiate it, but SEARCA is a long term. we could initiate really a long term for this one. And involving the industry also. So dapat may mag-lead dito.
Thank you po, Academician Mendoza.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, but we have questions po from our Q&A panel. So from Mr. Andrew Ariola, is an action plan with milestones available? Academician Glenn.
Again? Anong tanong?
Is an action plan with milestones available?
Yeah, actually, this is just a presentation. We have a pamphlet already on this one. It's not really complete because we are still in the consultation. We have series of stakeholder meeting. We are partnering with, of course, as I mentioned about the milestone that we have just recently done is the partnership with Bangko Sentral of the Philippines, because they are interested, because they have sustainable finance ngayon, and they are supporting this kind of initiatives. So partnering with the banks, especially with the central banks of the Philippines, BSP, you'll not go wrong, because the money is there, because they are the one to mobilize the banks to support this kind of project. And we are partnering with, of course, with IRI, and which is in advance now in Thailand and Finland and UK. So we are already there. And recently, actually last week, we have launched the Windrock project with USDA sa Thailand, and they have $20 million project related to these technologies in the business side to reduce the carbon footprints in agriculture. So I'm excited because it's there. So it's just a matter of leadership, doing the consortium, and finishing up developing the proposal together. And siguro si Andrew could help us really to firm up ang amin. I could share to you the program, but still in the making. Hindi pa siya perfect, because we could see there. Now we realize that it's very difficult to tap the green fund. It's very difficult to certify, to credit the carbon, or to convert the carbon credit into money. At saka medyo mura, kaya medyo nadismaya ako kaunti ngayon, medyo mura pala. You need $35 per ton of carbon that you sequester. So it's parang lugi ka. Parang, how would you help that farmer?
Okay po. Another question po from Ms. Annabel Sohara. Hi, Academician Glenn. Gusto ko lamang po mag-ask about planetary health diet. Any update po? Maraming salamat. Bel Sohara from Radyo Aguila of Net 25.
Yeah, thank you very much for that one. We just finished we call it FLEX PhD, an app mobile competition kahapon. It's food exemplified using planetary health diet. So a group of students and professionals come together and pitch their final mobile app on planetary health diet. And it was overwhelming because we have 12 finalists coming from 140 applicants. Naging 12 na lang sila from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and NCR. So ginawa naming 4 na regions: Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and NCR. And they produce a beautiful projects they pitch in. And just to give you an idea, ang nanalo after a lot of deliberation, because the grand winner will receive $500,000 after receiving 100,000 as a startup. Then they're given 3 months to develop their apps. Then grand finals kahapon ba? The other day, nung Wednesday, nung holiday. Then nag-pitch na sila, kami ang judges. So ang first prize coming from UPLB this time. So it's UPLB. Second, ito ay UPLB team from professors tsaka students. Ang second ay high school. The good thing is the high school ang nag-second prize from the Philippine Science High School ng Visayas. Ang nanalo, so nagulat sila at nanalo sila. At ang pangatlo ay from Visayas also. At ang third kasi dalawa sila, isa from UPLB. So it was well attended, and planetary health diet, which is actually with planetary health diet, parang kasama rin yun sa carbon-wise agriculture. Carbon-wise consumers naman. If you say planetary health diet, I always say how to responsible production and consumption ito. So maganda.
Thank you po, Kay Glenn. Do we still have questions po from our panelists and our attendees?
Yes.
Yes po.
This is Ike Seniores. I come from the IT and telco industry. My question, Kamustahan Gregorio, how are you planning to organize the IT infrastructure? Kasi halos lahat ng sinabi mo, IT ang solution. And after all that is said and done, uuwi lahat ito sa server. Cloud hosting, no?
Yeah.
Well, maganda rin yung mobile apps, but robust kasi ang kailangan ng system dito. So, ano ito? More of cloud-based ito.
Yes.
How are you planning? And then also, may mga existing data sets na eh. Mayroon ng NAMRIA, I'm sure mayroon ng planet.com, USGS. Sometimes siguro ang challenge na lang dito, data integration. How do you plan to do that? Thank you.
Sir Art, are you talking about the planetary health diet or the carbon farming?
No, everything you said. Kasi
Oh yeah, okay. Carbon farming.
nakita ko ang outcome nito dapat IT na eh.
Yeah, yes. Actually, you are right. That's why we are collaborating a lot with Thailand because they have the and cloud-based. Hindi to apps lang. Ang apps naman galing na ito yung mga small things na ginagawa. So we're in that and we want to invest in big things and that's why we're doing partnership. I know IT, very high IT based ito because itong WISE nga sinasabi ko, this is the web-based integrated system na ginagawa natin. So we are partnering and we will be, as I mentioned, we will be investing on this one. We are creating several mega projects on this one. And we are partnering with Thailand, which is really, they are already very big in this one. And ERI, actually next 3 weeks, ERI has another project on how to measure this basic study and how to measure this greenhouse gas emission in the rice system. So yes, you are right. And I think we will be giving up some of our resources to produce those cloud storage kasi we are talking about the whole Southeast Asian consortium, and that's where the big money should be coming because there should be we have to centralize it.
Actually, hindi naman lahat may bayad eh. Kasi, halimbawa, Microsoft pwedeng mag-donate.
Yeah. Actually,
Azure, Huawei, AWS,
they will hear us that we have a project like this and they will really be
At
willing
saka,
to, especially if this is for the environment.
At saka, kung halimbawa yung ibang countries willing magbigay ng source code nila o API nila, may shortcut tayo. Ang gagawin na lang namin from the Philippine side, mga Filipino IT people, integration na lang, conversion, migration. Yun na lang. Kasi if we start from scratch development, it doesn't make sense kung meron na silang source code.
Yeah.
Hiramin na lang natin, hingi tayo ng permission. IPR lang naman yan. I think they will agree.
Yeah,
I think some of those are in the public domain.
Yeah.
Kaya ulitin ko lang, meron na opisina dito ang planet.com eh.
Planet.com.
Yeah, malaki. I'm in touch with them already. And then may opisina na rin dito ang Starlink. I'm also in touch with them. That's why I'm saying integration na lang ito eh.
Yeah, thank you for that information. Yeah, you're right. That's why as I mentioned, SEARCA as an intergovernment treaty organization, that's why we could really help with linking them and Kasi marami sa mga work dito, Thailand, they are very strong, but Thailand alone, but that's why SEARCA will approach them. Thailand, we have Singapore, we have Brunei, and we have all other members, which especially those richer, Malaysia, Indonesia, then we could share together. Tama ikaw, i-integrate na lang talaga natin din. Kung anong mga gaps doon, then that's where we could give some resources to make these gaps happen. So
Yeah, maybe you can get help from the FA to approach the ASEAN Secretariat.
we are approaching. Even the USDA is very interested. Even the World Bank is there, and ADB, ASEAN Secretariat. They are nandun din.
Everybody wants to help, even JICA.
Yes. Thank you.
Kaya orchestration na lang talaga yan.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you po. We still have some questions po. Balik lang po kay Miss Annabel Sahara because she sent a follow-up question. She said, thank you po for your kind response. Congratulations po sa lahat ng winners. Na-interview ko po ang ibang contestants sa may program ko na Breakfast on Board. Dahil papalapit na po ang El Niño phenomenon, may maitutulong po kaya ang carbon farming sa ating mga farmers po? In what way? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question, and we could always link, as I mentioned before, the benefit of carbon farming is really improve the soil retention ng water retention sa soil. If we have a healthy soil, you have a improved water retention, and if you have using carbon-wise technology, we could part of it is having drought tolerant or resilient crop varieties and management, conservation of water, impounding water, nandun yun. So very direct ang kanya sa organizing by just organizing the farmer. That's already a big help because you could really conserve the water and schedule the planting from the different areas. So that's where it has a direct benefit is for this coming El Nino. But of course, we could not organize them right away, but slowly we have to demonstrate na maybe with this upcoming El Nino, we have to demonstrate to the farmers that ito, tingnan mo, nag-organize sila, it's working. They are more resilient. So they are looking at that farm, then they will start to copy, then they will start to organize themselves. So because farmers wants to follow what they see. Hindi lang yung sinasabi natin. Kung sabi ng carbon-wise farming, makakain ba yan? So we have to be very concrete sa kanila and very passionate at the same time. We could empathize from their pains para they could also follow us. Thank you.
Thank you po. Follow-up question po ulit from Miss Annabel. Follow-up question po, kung gusto po magpa-test ng soil, saan po pwede pumunta? May mga gusto po lalo na po ang mga coconut farmers kung pwedeng taniman ng ibang crops sa kanilang lupa na tinataniman din po ng nyog. Akadyan.
Yeah, that's very important. Unang gagawin mo ay iti-test mo ang soil. Para bang, I always mention, para ka bang may sakit. Kahit ubo lang yan, pinapatest ang blood test natin para malaman kung ano talagang cause ng sakit natin. But many farmers are not doing it. And now they realize the important para malaman kung suitable ba ang soil nila. Several stations of the Department of Agriculture have soil testing laboratory. University of the Philippines, meron din sila, and other universities, but babayad ka ng kaunti dito. Hindi lang kaunti, medyo mahal. Because I have tried it with my farm. Medyo yun ang restriction. Kaya ang dream ko ngayon, gusto ko magkaroon ng mobile soil testing laboratory para gusto ko pumunta sa mga farm area. Tapos iti-test na directly doon para hindi na mahirapan ng farmer na kumuha ng sample, mga ganon. So para bang mobile clinic, soil diagnosis ang maging project dapat ng DA. Kasi some of the DA are saying that they have laboratory pero kulang ng chemical, kulang ng ganito, hindi nakakatest. Yung area naman na maganda, mahal naman. Siguradong reliable pero private yan, medyo mahal. Kahit sa UP Los Baños, mayroon pero medyo restrictive din kasi mahal din ang mga chemical. So that's where we need really support for the farmers to Knowing the problem is already half of the solution. Knowing your soil condition is already half the problem. So it's available, but are you ready? Kasi example, you have 1 hectare, hindi lang isang testing ang gagawin mo dyan. Dapat sa ibang spot. Kasi heterogeneous yan. Dapat iba-ibang spot, alamin mo kung ano ang... Kasi ibang area dyan, phosphorus deficient, iba nitrogen, iba ayos lang. So paano mo malaman yun kung isang spot lang ang gagamitan mo?
Thank you po, Kaglen. May question ulit po tayo. With the technology that has been mentioned, meron na ba silang established na farm using this technology?
Yes, we have some farms, but they are using 1 or 2 technologies. That's why we want to consolidate it, apply it in one farm, in all in one, para makita natin ano ang... We know that, example, there are 5 technologies, working technologies, and each farm are using 1 of these technologies. What happened if you use 2 of these technologies into the other farm? What will happen if 3? What happened with 4? What happened with 5? What happened if 6 ilagay natin? Baka yung 3 lang pwede na sa isang farm. Kasi pag dinagdag yung isa, gagastos ka lang ng kaunti. Wala, ay gagastos ka lang, kakaunti lang ang increment ng yield niya. So you have to be, anong technology, example, may 5 technologies available, ano yung 2 or 3 that will have an 80% effect yield? Mas mataas ang, hindi mo na kailangan yung iba. So may mga ganong studies. So that's the beauty of the carbon farming technology, or the hub that we want to create, because we will be consolidating all these technologies and test it, which is the best combination in this particular area. So customize na customize. Kung ikaw ay nasa Iloilo, malapit ka sa dagat, sa saline area ka, itong 2 technologies ang pwede mong gamitin. Kung nasa Nueva Ecija ka, medyo high, less ang may maganda ang soil mo, maganda ang weather mo, maganda ang water mo. So itong 6 na technology pwede dyan. Talagang grabe ang increment mo ng yield if you use this 6 technology. So ganun ang gagawin natin.
Thank you po, Kaglen. Do we still have questions po from our panelists and our participants? Ma'am Luli, may words po tayo for Academician Glenn. Yes po, Glenn, you're recognized po. Ay, ma'am,
hello.
Muna. Yes po, ma'am.
Sige, siya
Hello.
muna.
Hello, Doc Glenn.
Hi.
Palagi kong hi, Doc Glenn. Congratulations, ganda yung topic mo, ano? My question is, ako madalas kong tinatanong ito, no, about population. Ano? What do you think would be the adverse impact on these agricultural innovations and technologies in order to protect the environment and to increase agricultural production? And how would you address these problems about unrestrained population growth, impact on these innovations and technologies? Kasi madaling naririnig ko na mga ganyan na topics or what, no mention whatsoever on impact of population growth.
Yeah,
Uncontrolled.
if I get your question right, you are very right. That's why if I mentioned also in the whole Southeast Asia, we are leading a little bit in agriculture before and economy, but we are not talking about population, but we are leading in population sobra. Kaya nahuli na tayo. Hindi ko ma-blame, ako nga 6 ang anak ko eh. But very difficult to control that one. But actually, it's a very big effect kasi the pressure from the population, more food with less input, yan mahirap, di ba? And less land, we have more lands are converted to housing because it's natural, because we need housing than a farm kasi kailangan mo ng tulugan kaysa pagkain or pagkain ng iba. So population is there. I'm talking about technology if the population is constant, because agriculture could not control the population. So I'm just saying that if we could control the population, this program on carbon-wise farming or producing more with less carbon footprint will be more implemented if we have less population, because we have less pressure. But with less land, I think if I'm a dictator, my first law will be reduce the population. That will be, but an agriculture secretary, or if you're a scientist in agriculture or in IT, you could not. It's beyond your control. So if you could reduce the population, then that will really help us a lot. Direct effect yun.
Thank you, Doc Glenn. Thank you.
Yeah. Glenn, thank you for a very nice lecture. With regard to carbon sequestration, I've read things about tilling versus non-tilling. Too much tilling, sort of releases carbon. And is that true? And that, that rice, you see these rice farmers really tilling the land a lot. So what is your, what can be done, in regards to carbon storage?
Yeah, that's the challenge, because rice is really hindi lang sa tilling, sobrang tubig ang kailangan niya, and you have to 3 harrowings, 3 plowings, harrowing, may labeling pa, tapos may paglilinyahan pa. So that's why rice is one of the contributor of greenhouse gas emissions. So with this now, we are trying, even the new technology of rice production is using direct seeding, using dry seeding. You don't need to have a wet field there, or very wet field to plant your rice, alternate wet and dry. But the problem is with non-tilling it is the weeds also. So you will be labor cost will be very high. So there's will be the technology will come in. So maybe you will be having a variety that have a very fast growing, so that it will cover the canopy cover will be higher in a short time, so that it will cover the weeds. So all those things, or they're talking about rice with allelopathic effect on the weeds. So those are new technologies they're taking. So yeah, that's the problem with just tilling. You are already contributing, or it has, compared to non-tilling, it will. But how would you reduce it? That's part of the solutions that we want to propose in this one, in this project. So we want to firm up using the dry seedbed method, direct seeding. So nandun na tayo, dahan-dahan tayo, and we are even designing rice to grow under direct seeding method. So there's a new type of rice that could grow under. But some rice area naman, actually in the Philippines and all Southeast Asia, is they don't have problem with water. So water is coming in that area. That's why they could not plant other crops, only rice, because it's waterlogged in that area. So we don't have problems actually on that, because we are not adding water. We are just adapting to the ecosystem, especially if you're talking on the deltas.
Yeah. I see a question here from Annabelle Surara. Maybe Paul can read that.
Yes po, ma'am. Okay po. From Miss Annabelle Sahara po ulit. Maraming salamat po. Very productive discussion, Academician Glenn. Sana po ma-guest ko po kayo sa aking program. May weekly program po ako every Wednesday sa Radyo Aguila via FB Live YouTube channel from 10 to 12. Sana po kahit mga 20 minutes po.
Sure, all the time. Habang kung di ako sa biyahe, especially ngayon, online na tayo, kaya naman yan. I have been guesting a lot of talks hanggang from GMO up to organic farming up to agricultural education and smart farming. Go ahead, let's talk and discuss these things. I'm not the total expert on this one, but I have ideas based on my experience, on the academic experience at the International Rice Research Institute and my private company and the other private company and my new business in agriculture now. And I'm also a farmer. I'm a practicing farmer. So that's my advantage. I know a little bit on everything. Thank you.
Yun po, kay Glenn. Final call po for questions from panelists and attendees. Okay na po. We still have one question, kay Glenn. Last na po. So, a question from one of our participants. If we're going to initiate in reducing fertilizer utilization to the rice farmers, how are we going to address the reduction of greenhouse gases which are emitted from livestock, considering that animal manure can be considered as one of the components of fertilizer in replace of synthetic ones?
Yeah, if you reduce the fertilizer, it's not only the manure that you could use for as an organic fertilizer. You could use a lot of, that's why I say circular economy. You would use rice straw and decomposition of the leaves and other biomass that you get from the farm. And if you mix it with this carabao manure and cow manure or chicken, it might decompose well. So the good thing there is it's emitting some gas also, but you are reusing it to replace synthetic fertilizer. I do not say that you will totally at the first you will totally avoid the synthetic fertilizer. Baka maging Sri Lanka tayo. Na there's a transition. There should be a critical transition. Maybe you reduce 1/4, reduce 30%, then 40%, then pababa na po hanggang na-rehab na talaga ang soil mo. Then you could use a complete natural fertilizer or biodegradable fertilizer. What I mean, bio-based fertilizer instead of synthetic fertilizer. So you have to be very careful, dahan-dahan tayo doon. And now, of course, sa animal, may malami tayong expert dyan sa animal kwan din. But we could always reduce it. I have some solutions there, but we could, by eating, by having pressuring them to eat plant-based diets. That's why yun na sa aming planetary health diet na kinain kanina. I always mention in our planetary health diet is the rule of the thumb is eat more vegetables, eat more crops, or the more colorful your plate is, the more healthful it is. So if you eat, huwag mo nang isayang, basta colorful yung pagkain mo. So it means some purple, some yellow vegetables from the crops. Ang meat naman red lang yan, kaya isang color lang yan. So the more colorful your food is, the more healthful your plate is. So yun ang rule of the thumb natin. So eat less of those, but not totally hindi, unless you're a vegetarian. Marami tayong solution. Si Dr. Academician Wala, marami siyang solution that another discussion siguro yun.
Yes po. Thank you po, Akadyan. And quick feedback lang po. I believe there has been researches po regarding how to lessen yung methane emission ng mga ruminants through food consumption po nila. So I think it's being conducted with the Philippine Caribou Center. Last question po. Pahabol na po from Sir Ike Sinyejes. What agency in government is responsible for what you are doing? That is his question po.
Of course, the Department of Agriculture is there. The Science and Technology is there. And it involves everything. We have even yung space natin, space agency natin at saka NASA dapat makatulong din sa atin dito kasi this is a global problem. They could help us where's the production area and all those things. That's why even in DOST right now, special concern with Pagtanaw, we have space technology and partnering with agriculture because they have a lot of solutions for us. And IT, of course, that's very important for digital agriculture. that he mentioned a while ago. So we have to work with them. Actually, when I went to Thailand, we talk a lot with the IT people than the agriculture sector because they are working on agriculture also. And they want data from agriculture to play with. So everything should be there, including social science, health, and we have also this One Health approach program, which really health of the soil, health of the environment, health of human, health of the animal. It should be integrated. One Health or eco-health approach towards agricultural development. So, nandun. Nandun na lahat. Siguro hindi lang kasali ano kaya. Kahit military, kasama rin nandun. So, yun ang masasabi ko.
Last na po, sorry kung nag-uti po tayo ng konti, but final question
Sure.
from Ms. Gondina Devota Dilao. Academician Gregorio, a pleasant afternoon. How do you consider the farming strategy of the Vietnamese? I'm not sure though if it's still the same. It's about their practice of burying their dead in the fields. Are we to believe that cadavers could serve as potential fertilizers? Glenn?
Hindi ko masabi. Hindi man lang binaburn doon, pero nandun ang libingan nila sa farms nila. Pag nakita mo sa farms nila, nandun yung mga cross. Nandun din, they want really to go back to the soil that they are tilling. So, yun ang nakita ko. Hindi lang binaburn siguro, but they are doon lang nililibing. Siyempre, lahat ng animal naman, organic yan, ay magiging fertilizer yan sila lahat. Pag sinunog mo, mas less ang effect. Mas maigi yung hindi mo sinunog para mag-decompose siya and it will go back to the soil. Than burning it, mas marami kang kahoy na susunugin doon para ma-burn mo talaga yung patay. So, if you talk about burning and non-burning, mag-non-burning ka na lang kasi apog lang yung makukuha mo doon, ash na lang eh. Tapos ang dami mong kahoy magagamit para you need a lot, almost a ton of woods para masunog mo yan. Or a lot of energy to burn, to make your body into ashes. Thank you.
Thank you very much po, Academician Glenn Gregorio. If we don't have questions na po, the link for the evaluation is already in the chat box. So for your e-certificates, please accomplish the form. And also we have put po yung social media accounts ng Future Earth Philippines for you to stay connected with us. And again, thank you very much, Academician Glenn Gregorio, for a very fruitful discussion. And we hope to see you po again on our next episodes of SDG Action Hour. Maraming salamat po.